welcome back for the so anticipated video. I have been waiting to do this for months. I am Liz from Hello from Liz Mathews, and I have with me my special guest, my mom, who is also known as Kathy Barrick.
Hi!
If you've been in the needlework industry, you've probably seen her name somewhere over the last 25 years. 25 years. So we are here today to do our Nashville 2020 market reveals. We are coming at you with a lot of new releases. So I suggest grabbing a drink. I also might suggest a pen and a piece of paper, because we're going to show you all of our new pieces as well as all of the full details. So get ready, sit tight. This is going to be a good one. At the end of the video, we'll talk about how you can get these, when, where, all of those things. But all of these products that we're going to show, all of these patterns, will be available in Tennessee March 6th, that weekend.
Yes.
So I'm going to go ahead and get started if you don't mind.
Go for it.
Okay, so I just loved the winter trees I did so much. And this isn't a surprise. I hinted to you guys for a long time that I was going to do spring trees, and it's going to be seasonal. So this is one of my spring trees. Don't judge. This hasn't been sturdied yet, and it will get some Spanish moss. But this is my, this is my spring quilt tree. It is about the same size as my winter trees, but it is in a spring color palette, also sewn three-dimensionally into like a pocket. It is done in Weeks Dye Works with Weeks Dye Works thread on Weeks Dye Works linen. I again am using a natural tree branch as my stem, and it's an antique flower frog. I do want to say you are going to hear a lot between the two of us about fancy floss. Mom turned me on to needlepoint silk recently, and I am in love, and she uses it in her patterns as well. But just know that although we prefer fancy floss, we have spent a lot of time color checking every floss to a DMC conversion, like a lot of time. In fact, I found that a lot of the print off conversions aren't accurate.
They're totally wrong.
So we don't even rely on those. We are like color matching. So just know that even though we're using fancy floss, there's always a really accurate DMC conversion on all of our charts. But this is Weeks Dye Works over dyed threads. Let me see if I can get you kind of oh, that's nice.
Yes.
You can see it's a really good variegation. So that is spring quilt tree. Let me real quick give you the stitch count on that in case you want to start kidding, which I don't blame you at all. It is 130 wide by 142. The model was stitched on 36 count. It uses 4 colors of thread.
And what fabric color is it?
Oh, excuse me, thank you. It is on Weeks Dye Works linen colored linen. So that's my spring quilt tree. Also, I don't know if Mom's gonna do this, but taking pictures and like doing the front cover, I've talked about how it's my most favorite part of the chart layout process. So I'm going to show you what my covers look like. Don't feel like you have to.
I'm not organized enough yet.
I've been planning this video for quite a while, but that's what the chart looks like. Really happy with the picture. So there you go.
Okay.
Your turn.
My turn. Okay. I'm going to do my moth. If you will remember HL's moth that came out last Nashville, this is my new version. This is BR's moth.
Here, I'll hold it for you.
Oh, thanks.
Sure.
And while it's not a reproduction of an antique, it is a reproduction of an antique moth that I found at the antique markets here in Pennsylvania. So there's the original moth. It's huge.
That's my hand.
Yeah, it's huge. And I knew when I saw it, I just had to reproduce it.
I was with her when she found it. It was like,
so exciting. So there it is, and there it is.
I love it. Oh, I love it so
I like how it turned
much.
out.
Let me try to give you a nice close-up. Mom, what's the frame on this? It's custom?
Yeah, it's custom made at Michael's.
Okay, it's beautiful and perfect.
This was stitched by Connie Bechtold, who's a friend of mine in Indiana. She did it spur of the moment so quickly, so perfectly. When I got this in the mail, when I got the model back from Connie, I was in my car because I had to go pick it up. And I ripped open the box, pulled out the sampler, and was sitting there staring at it thinking, oh my God, it's so perfect. And I was looking at the back. I kid you not. I'm not kidding.
I saw the back. She's not kidding. It's beautiful.
So perfect. So there it is.
Yay.
It is stitched on.
Give us the details on this.
Okay. It's stitched on 40 count Havana from Weeks Dye Works, which is a gorgeous linen.
Yeah, it's perfect for this piece.
And it's stitched with needlepoint silks.
What's your stitch count on it?
Stitch count is 134 wide by 105 high.
Cool. And let's just get this out of the way. Mom also has the DMC conversion on everything.
Of course.
Even if we don't say it, it's there.
Right. Absolutely.
This is gorgeous. Oh, I freaking love it. It's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Yay.
It was fun. It was a fun one.
Yeah.
Okay, your turn.
Okay, I'm going to keep with my trees. Hint, hint. This is my next tree. It is called Mayflower Tree. Now, this is interesting because, well, I don't know why it's interesting. There's just some things I want to say about it. This is worked on 36 count Weeks Dye Works Sanguine. I'm never going to get that right. Linen.
Sanguine, I think.
Sanguine. And it uses 2 skeins of needlepoint silk in one color. So obviously you can do DMC, but if you have been itching to try needlepoint silk, this might be a perfect way to do it. 1 color, 2 skeins. It's not a big investment. You might really like it. So this is finished the exact same way that I finished all of my trees. It is 1 color. It measures 139 wide by 156 high. That's the stitch count. Sanguine linen from Weeks Dye Works. Here is the cover for that. And that is the Mayflowers tree.
It's gorgeous. Good job.
Thank you.
All right.
Next up
is a little reproduction sampler. This is a French sampler. If I tilt it too much, the sampler might fall off. It's not attached to the background yet.
Let me give you a nice close-up. Ooh.
It's, okay, it came to me from Paris.
Ooh.
And it was stitched by Pillet, Pillet. I think I'm pronouncing it right.
And that's the name of this piece.
That's the name of the piece. As is the antique, it was stitched on a piece of linen, then hemmed, and the hem was covered with silk over-dyed ribbon.
Oh, it's gorgeous.
Beth Wixon did this. She stitched the model and did the finishing, and I just love it. She made these perfect little tiny bows and attached them at the corners. It's just such a fun piece. Now, I know a lot of you hate back stitching.
I don't know. I've seen it become more popular lately.
Really?
Is it called black work?
Yes. Yes. This is red work.
Oh.
I love it. It just grabbed me as soon as I saw it. So
it's fabulous.
I did it. I made the investment and I charted it, and it was fun. It was actually pretty challenging to chart all the back stitching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
okay. The stitch count is 113 wide by 112 high. It was stitched on 36 count beige linen from Weeks Dye Works with needlepoint silk. And there are 2 colors of silk used. In the antique sampler, the ET in her name had faded out, so I just chose a different color to give it that old faded look. And that's it.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm going to round out my tree collection with something that might surprise you guys, because I shared this before I finished it into a tree in a frame. So you might be surprised that this is actually a tree. This is Swan Tree. It uses Weeks Dye Works threads throughout. It is on, I believe this is 36 count beige linen. Let me just, 36 count beige from Weeks Dye Works. Finished the same way as all of the trees. One thing I do want to make note of with this pattern is, as I was stitching it, I realized how much I loved it. So the pattern itself, would you grab that for me? Thank you.
Oh, sure. Oh, okay.
That's not it, actually. Anyway, what I wanted to say is I finished this in a full rectangle. So if you are not wanting to make a tree, you can finish this more traditionally and frame it. There are all of the details you need on the back of that chart.
That's cool that you did that.
Yeah, because it looked gorgeous as I was stitching it.
It's so pretty. I can't figure out this. I love that stitching at the bottom. It's just overdyed thread, right?
Yep, just Weeks Dye Works cross stitch. Nothing fancy here.
It looks fancy. I love that.
Thank you.
Good job,
There's
Lizzie.
the cover for that. And that concludes my trees for spring.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay, I'm up. This is Susan Hillier, which is an antique sampler that I reproduced, and the line's falling out of the back. And Rindy Richards stitched it for me. It's amazing how the reproduction looks exactly like the antique.
It really does.
It's just so fun. This is an English sampler. I found it in Pennsylvania. It's dated 1852, which is a little newer than most samplers I collect, but I just found it irresistible.
I mean, look at those owls and those deer.
Yeah. There's some one-over stitching in here. The verse is over one, the deer and the butterflies are over one. Oh, and the little cats or dogs right there and there.
Awesome.
Rindy did not have a problem with it. It's stitched on 36 count Legacy from Picture This Plus, and I just love how it turned out.
I love it.
And then I loved it so much, and the motifs so much, that I designed a little companion pincushion to go with it. And Rindy did this. She stitched it and finished it for me. Look at the back.
It is so
Dupont
sweet.
silk. It's just fabulous.
I like the chenille.
Yeah.
Chenille.
Trim. Isn't that wonderful?
So sweet.
So this chart's there as well. It's the same motifs, but just rearranged a little bit. Same border, rearranged. And that's included. And
Did you say the name?
Susan Hillier. I think I'm pronouncing that right. From England.
This little pincushion just combines all my most favorite parts of the full reproduction. You have the tiny butterflies, the deer, the owl, the border. I love it.
It's fun.
I love it.
And Rindy did such a good job.
Oh, it's good.
And it too was stitched on 36 count Legacy, needlepoint silks. The Sampler stitch count is 116 wide by 104 high. And the pincushion stitch count is 92 wide by 44 high. And I think I've covered it.
Drop the pin on the ground.
Oh, that's okay.
You're not
I see
barefoot,
it.
are you?
No. Thank you.
I love that.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna move into my framed pieces. First up for you, I have what I have named Yonder, because what you have is a landscape essentially trying to get perspective worked in there, like close, farther, farthest. You have the north, south, east,
So
west
cool.
orientation. Really, really loved this piece. This is worked on, I need to get better. I need to be more prepared next time you're talking. Its stitch count is 122 wide by 84 high. It is on 36 count straw from Weeks Dye Works. It uses needlepoint silk.
It's awesome.
And that is that.
Good job on that perspective.
Thank you.
That's really good.
Yonder.
Yonder.
Looks like that in your LNS.
Cool. Okay, I was watching and didn't get ready.
I know. I'm not bad about
Okay,
this.
here we go. The next one is called A Visit from Spot. If you will recall, when I had Carriage House samplings, I designed a piece called Spot the Horse.
Spot the Horse.
Spot the Horse. It was wildly popular. It was very primitive, and I just loved the design. Excuse me. So I wanted to design another Spot. And this one isn't nearly as primitive, but it is fun. This is called A Visit from Spot. And there's Spot in his glory.
Let me stop there so you guys can see the full thing, and then we'll zoom.
Okay.
Oh, I love this.
Thank you. The sampler is stitched on, it's on another page. I'm sorry, I can't tell you that.
I would assume 40 count though.
Yeah,
Wouldn't
it's
you?
definitely 40 count. I can't remember what the linen is. It's a picture of this plus linen. I'll find out, and I'm very sorry.
And I would assume that you probably use needlepoint silk.
Yes, and the stitch count of the sampler is 119 wide by 116 high. Rindy Richards stitched this for me again, and I designed a pincushion companion piece. And this is what Rindy did. I designed it, she stitched it, but look, she turned it into a box.
That is so
She's
sweet.
just so creative.
That is
And
so
she added the
sweet.
ball trim. It's just so sweet. The pincushion stitch count is 55 by 55. Okay, so then, this was a shocker. When this arrived, I opened the box, and inside, Rindy had made a fob. Look, she took the little lady motif.
Here.
Thank you.
I watch a lot of makeup videos, so I feel like I know the good secrets. Apparently not.
It won't focus.
Focus.
There we go, it's trying. There. Okay, so she took the little lady from the sampler design.
I'm gonna get this for you guys. Oh, okay, there we go.
There we go.
Oh, that's so sweet.
So here's the lady in the sampler design right there. And she made a fob out of it just because she's wonderful and creative and sweet and kind. And I love her to death.
That's adorable.
Look at that. Isn't that fun? So that was such a treat to come in the mail.
So the chart, I assume, has the full sampler, the box top. Do you need a separate chart for that?
I didn't chart the fob. It's just the lady,
Yeah.
nothing special, nothing around it, just
That
that.
is so
So this is a visit from Spot, and it's one of my faves.
Yes. Oh,
All right, you're up.
yay. Okay, next up from me, we have a pattern called Holdfast. You might recognize this because I did release this previously as a punch needle pattern. I loved it so much that I wanted to convert it to cross stitch. There are a few color changes, a few more details found in this piece. This is based off of an antique little swatch of a sampler that Mom gave me years ago.
Yeah.
And I just loved it so much. It was punch needle and now it's cross stitch. So this piece uses Weeks Dye Works over dyed threads. You can kind of see the variegation in there.
You really nailed that. It's really
Thank
perfect.
You helped me with it.
It's gorgeous,
I
Liz.
appreciate it. It is on Picture This Plus 36 count legacy linen. The one thing I want to point out that's kind of, I don't know, it feels like more of an unusual thread is the border, which I was trying to mimic Mother of Pearl, because that's what it's framed in. And I've been promising you guys I would show you that original for months, and I never
Do you
have.
have it?
No. So the border is done in a Weeks Dye Works thread called Clamshell. It's extremely variegated. Let me see if I can kind of show you. You can see the variegation there.
Okay.
And unfortunately, this is a thread that I don't feel that there is a appropriate DMC conversion for. So if you do choose to stitch this, just know, stitch it in DMC, just know that you might be leaving off the border, which I think still leaves a beautiful piece.
That's awesome.
So just keep that in mind. The stitch count is 85 wide by 131 high, done in Weeks Dye Works, all cross stitch. This is Holdfast.
Beautiful.
Oh, and here we have the Holdfast cover. Sorry guys, I love the photography so much that I want to share it with you.
Good. That's
There you
good.
go.
Cool. All right. My next one is another reproduction. This is
Can I
called.
help you? Or do you want to do it?
You can
Okay. We'll
center
start.
me up. There we go.
There.
This is called Mary Lutz. This was actually an antique Pennsylvania German show towel that Liz gave to me for Christmas this year.
We're gonna get a good zoom here.
There you go. Perfect. And the show towel was like 3 feet long and with the motif spread out from top to bottom. So I just like compacted everything into a sampler. The exact same motifs, everything's the same, but the motifs are just squished up together to form a sampler.
You know what I'm noticing?
What?
The camera's not picking up the red that's in here.
It's hard to see the red that's in here. The threads are like a rusty red and a dark olive green. It's very hard to see. It's hard to see the difference. I think I chose wrong.
No, I actually think it's just the camera is not picking it up accurately because it's more red in person than it's showing, just so you know.
Yeah.
If you follow the called for threads, don't be surprised if you're like, this is red.
Right.
What they showed looked more brown.
Right.
And rusty.
There is a red in there.
Yeah.
Carol Sims stitched this for me. Carol is a great friend who I've known for years and years. She's willing to stitch one model a year for me. She's stitched tons of models before, but just got burned out on me and my consistent stitching. So now she stitches one a year. This is the one she did this year, and I look forward to seeing Carol at market.
Me too. Stitch count on this?
203 wide by 249 high.
Okay.
It uses 2 shades of needlepoint silk, and the original is stitched on 36 count linen, colored linen from Weeks Dye Works, using 1 strand of needlepoint silk over 2 threads of linen. Cross stitch is used throughout, and it was custom framed.
It's a big guy.
It's a big guy.
There you go.
You know what? You gave me this for Christmas. Right after Christmas, I had to go to Florida to take care of my mom who had fallen and broken her hip. And I spent 10 days there, and I brought the show towel with me and my PC, and I charted this piece while I was at my mom's. And she loved it so much that I printed her out the chart. It's not my mom's taste, which is...
No, she's traditionally floral.
Yeah, old. She's 96. Anyway, she stitched it, and she's ready to have it framed. So she's the first person that stitched this.
A test stitcher.
Yes.
All right, my turn again. For you, I am proud to present Fraktur Bees. This might be one of my favorite. I don't have a favorite, but this is one of them.
It's wonderful.
I love this so much.
Let's get closer.
Yeah, I just love it. Okay, so it's kind of a Fraktur style with oranges, browns, greens. There we go. That's looking good. You have kind of patchworky bees at the top, some vibrant flowers, some bee skeps, and more bees in the bottom. There's just something about this piece that I love, love, love.
Me too. It's wonderful.
So that's called Fraktur Bees. It is worked on 36 count linen using cross stitches on light, let me back up, 36 count light khaki linen from Weeks Dye Works, all cross stitches, and I used DMC thread to work this piece.
Oh, did you really?
I did.
Wow.
Because I was like, I need to do it now. No time to order. The stitch count is 114 wide by 103 high.
I love that. It's so striking.
I know. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. And my cover sheet. What you can look for in stores.
That's the same frame as I used. Isn't it? Pretty
Maybe.
much.
Yours is kind of gold, mine's silver.
Oh, you're
But
right.
it's the same, like...
Yeah. Molding or something. Yeah. Cool.
Fraktur Bees.
Good job.
Back to you, Kathy.
Okay. This
Back
is
to
next.
you, Kathy.
Back to you, Lizzie.
In the studio.
All right. This piece is called Marianne March. It's not a reproduction. I designed it.
Can we do it?
Sure.
Okay.
My motivation for this sampler was the colors.
Oh, yeah. So I need to get a good focus on those.
I really wanted to go with old colors and to see what would happen if I put my favorite over-dyed cotton colors all into one piece.
Well, this one. Okay.
And
Oh, your choices. They blend as if it's all just one skein. But it's not, right?
Right. Yeah, there are 8 colors used. Carmen Sutton stitched it for me, and she finished it for me. And that's another story in itself.
That's beautiful.
Thank you. Okay, this
Sorry.
sampler, no, don't be, is not framed. It's stitched on linen and backed with cotton, and it's a rolling sampler. It's a roll up. Okay. This is what it looks like rolled up. Carmen is so cool. She made a second one that's a dummy just so that I could photograph it with it. And this one has nothing stitched on the inside. But Carmen took linen and stitched Marianne March's name over one and made a label for
so cute.
The outside.
So when you roll it.
So that when you roll it, it shows. And then she attached an antique button and this is vintage rayon ribbon. So you roll it up, wrap the ribbon around it, and look at that. That's what you
adorable.
have. And then when you put them both together, they just look so sweet.
Yeah.
So the finishing is half of this piece. It's just fabulous. And Carmen did it all. And I'm so grateful. She's such a good friend and so skilled at stitching and finishing. It's amazing.
Now you could also frame that if that's not your look.
Right. You sure could.
You could also
you could frame it. But who doesn't want that?
I know.
Okay, so this piece is stitched on, I gotta find it, 40 count Heartland from Picture This Plus. And it uses one strand of Gentle Art sampler threads over 2 threads of linen. You got it. Good job. Yeah, isn't that cool?
So sweet. What a great idea.
The sampler, I feel like, is just a marking sampler with an alphabet. It's not dynamic or special on its own, but with this finishing, I just love it. It's just so fun.
She did an amazing job.
And
all the quality.
I think that's it. I'll have the color list of sampler threads on my blog today.
What kind of threads did you use for that?
Gentle Art sampler threads.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that.
It's
part.
like
I haven't tried that yet.
It's wonderful. They're antique. Their antique colors are just fabulous.
Well, if that's what they look like, they sure are.
Yeah. Okay, your turn.
All right, we are moving on to Carnation Sampler.
Ooh.
Now, this is a design that was released from Elizabeth's Garden, I want to say in 2000, doesn't matter, a while ago. And I am bringing it back. There is minimal changes between this and the original pattern that I released. So if you happen to have that in stash, don't buy this one. But if not, it's available again. I just really liked the spring look of this, the carnations, the fat little birds. And I did do this in 100% Weeks Dye Works overdyed threads, which I think you can see in these shots, that overdyed look. But the color palette is just perfect for the spring and summer season. Really a fun stitch. I did not stitch this. My model stitcher Joanna stitched this, and she did an amazing job. It's so beautiful. So thank you so much, Joanna. It was done on 32 count Regency linen from Picture This Plus. It uses Weeks Dye Works threads, as I said, and the stitch count is a perfect 95 wide by 95 high square. Cool. And that's what you're looking for in store.
Yay.
Yay.
Oh, I'm not supposed to say that.
You know how everybody has like something they say
constantly
on floss tube that they try to avoid? Mine is
and mine is yay.
Mine's amazing, awesome. That's amazing. That's amazing.
You're amazing.
It's amazing.
You're awesome.
You're amazing.
You're awesome. You're amazing.
Yay!
Yeah. All right, we're done. All right.
Kathy's turn.
Okay.
Ooh.
This is so strange.
What was that?
And I get it.
No, these are awesome.
I bought these online. They came from Massachusetts, even though on the chart I wrote they came from England. No, they came from Massachusetts. These are Pinstruck Pincushions. There's only one. Let me see. This is a Pinstruck Pincushion. It's very old. It dates to the earliest date is 1882.
That's awesome. That is awesome.
Here's the other side.
Dates? All dates.
All dates. They were the dates her children were either born or baptized.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
And look at the finishing on this antique piece.
It's silk ribbon that's been like hand pleated and stitched on.
Oh my gosh. This is awesome.
I just loved it online and ordered it, and it arrived, and I just loved it even more.
Mm-hmm.
So I reproduced it into, Beth did all the work. Beth Wixon, stitcher extraordinaire in Louisville, Kentucky, and super wonderful, great, sweet friend. So I chartered it for cross stitch, and it came out a little smaller, but it's still adorable, I think. There's the one side.
Look at her finishing.
Here's the other. I sent Beth the ribbon. This is ribbon from Lady Dot Creates, Lois, who was so sweet and sent me this. And there it is.
Oh my gosh, I love that so much.
And then I asked Beth to make a second model and not stitch anything on it. Thanks. So she did that, and here it is. So when it came, I got to work doing the pin sticking.
Do you want me to? Am I annoying you doing that?
No,
Or do you like it?
no, please.
Oh. Okay, we need a backing page for this so that you guys can see it in all its glory, because this is amazing. Wow, I am not amazing at this.
I didn't do a perfect job sticking those pins. It's harder
Oh,
than you
that's
think
awesome.
to get them perfect. It really is. But it was fun, and I loved doing it. And I had another one of these.
I love these.
When I was decorating and collecting early primitive antiques. And
Oh. I'm trying.
good job. Okay, so the other one I had was, stop!
No, I'm trying to focus.
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, the other one I had was more rectangular, and it had a handle that went like this. And my niece, Gracie, Marty's daughter, was like 2 or 3. And she'd come over to my house, and she'd get the pincushion off the cupboard door I had it on, and she'd carry it around like a purse all day long. All day long. It used to worry me to death.
I thought you were going to say she pulled all the pins out.
No, she didn't. But I was so worried about it. She'd be carrying around down to the pool, back to the house, out to the barn. And I'm thinking, no. But I didn't want to take it away from her. So I didn't. And it survived. I afterwards sold that piece. And I wish I hadn't. I wish I still had it.
I remember that piece.
You do?
On the pantry door.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So
I love that.
There's
That's
the old
so
one
cool.
again. There's 2 repros. The chart gives information and instructions for both the stitched version and the pin stuff version. I used vintage pins, which I found on eBay or Etsy or something, just because they give it a cool look.
So if you choose to do the pin stuffed version, is each pin a symbol, basically a cross
Yes.
stitch?
Yeah,
Easy
it
to
is.
see.
Yes.
Oh, I love those.
And-
So creative.
Okay. This was stitched on hand-dyed linen from Picture This Plus. Uh-oh. It's Legacy. That's what it is. This is Legacy linen from Picture This Plus. And both of them are. And it's stitched with needlepoint silk, which is on a different page. Oh, sorry.
Is that right?
Okay. So the instructions for both versions are given. I hope you enjoy it. It was fun. I had fun with it. Beth had fun with it. You can have fun with it too.
Yay!
Yay! Yay! That's awesome. You're amazing.
Okay.
Okay, you're up.
Pull it together. We have
Oh, I love this.
Charleston.
Oh,
I loved stitching this piece. I could not wait to get started stitching this piece, and it was fun. It was really fun. Let me give you a nice close-up view.
she had it stitched in like 3 days. And then she couldn't wait to show it to people. She kept texting me and saying, "Can I show it to people? Can I show it to people?"
Yeah, this was one of the first ones I did for market, and I was like, why do we do these? Like, why do we wait anyway? We should just show everything.
It's so beautiful, Liz.
I really struggled with all of the colors for this piece. It did take me a little more than 3 days. But I think I finally got it. It is done in needlepoint silk, but does have that very thorough DMC conversion. It is on 32 count fog from Picture This Plus,
Oh.
and this is cross stitch throughout except for inside the border. You'll see that there's some satin stitching, which was really fun to do. But if you are not into satin stitching or back stitching, go ahead and throw some cross stitches in there. It's not a problem and won't change the overall look of the piece. I just liked the silk-like border.
Sheen.
I liked the look of it, the sheen.
It's beautiful. Liz.
But this was really fun. I also think this is a cool, not cool, a great piece that if you wanted to do like little pin cushions or not finish the whole thing, maybe you're a nautical lover. Does that make sense?
Wonderful.
A nautical person, a swan person, whatever. But I'm calling this piece Charleston, and it will be available at Market. There's the cover sheet.
It's fabulous.
Fabulous.
That can be your new word. Laurie Brecklin says I say that one way too much. I gotta stop saying
Fabulous.
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 Fabulous. Okay, next up. This piece was a teaching piece that I did in Indiana last year, like 2 weeks after market. It's called Eden's Dollhouse. And it's a small sampler stitched on, hang on. Oh. Is it here? Is it here? Is it here? Please be here. It's.
I would bet
I have it. God, it was right in front of me. Okay.
that wasn't so fabulous.
Okay. This is stitched on 36 count legacy linen using Gentle Art sampler threads. The inside of the house is completely filled in. When I designed this piece, I designed the house, and that was about it. I had the house done, and then I thought to myself, what's the weirdest thing I can put in this house?
What
And
is it?
Adam and Eve.
Oh, it is a house.
It is Adam and Eve.
I just realized
Yes, it's a house with Adam and Eve inside. So, in the Garden of Eden, that's why it's called Eden's Dollhouse.
that. Yep.
Okay?
Yeah.
Okay. The only weird thing about it is Adam's hair and Eve's hair.
And I did try to zoom in and show you how it moves.
Yes.
Ooh, right there, not moving.
There we go.
So it looks like this is a braid.
That's a braid. There's some stitching underneath. Then you braid with three strands of thread into braids. And then Adam's hair is curled. And I did this by taking the thread, wrapping it around a straight pin, and then ironing it dry.
So smart. So it's wet.
So it was wet. Oh, sorry. First I made it wet, then I wrapped it, and then I ironed it dry. And it worked. The curls
It's
are
so
still in
cute.
there, and it's been a year. So it just gives some dimension to the piece and gives Adam a cool look.
Yeah,
and Eve.
for sure.
Yeah. So this
Very
is
nice.
Eden's Dollhouse. I told you it's stitched on 36 count legacy. Stitch count is 92 wide by 94 high. And that's all I know.
Very nice.
Thanks.
Oh, it didn't get ready.
Oh, you were helping me.
Okay. Next up, Bowerbirds. Ooh, boy. Here we have it.
Look at that.
This is called Bowerbirds. It is worked on 36 count gorgeous dove linen from Weeks Dye Works. It is done entirely in cross stitch using just one color, multiple skeins of one color of DMC. You have a nice little alphabet in there. Intentionally, you are missing some letters. They are presumably behind the birds in the bower. But this was a really, really fun stitch, and I love the way it turned out.
Me too.
I really struggled getting the gorgeousness of dove linen to convert to my cover sheet, but just know it is one of the most beautiful, modeled, textural colors ever, and I love it so much.
I do too.
This is Bowerbirds. It is 126 wide by 157 high. Dove linen from Weeks Dye Works. This is another piece that if you were kind of itching to play with needlepoint silk or try it for the first time because you've heard me talk about it, you know, mom uses it, this might be another great piece to try. I would probably get 3 skeins of all the same color, but you guys, it's fabulous.
It's gorgeous, Liz.
It's
I mean really gorgeous.
Silk, but
I
this
know.
too.
I love it.
I love this too. So
Good job.
that's Bowerbirds. This is probably my favorite cover sheet of all my cover sheets for release, for market release, and that's what it looks like.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Good job.
Thank you.
All right, next up for me is another reproduction sampler. This is a Quaker. I found the original sampler in Pennsylvania at the antique markets, and I couldn't believe what I was seeing.
Oh.
The antique was made into a small table with a bird's eye maple frame.
I didn't expect you to say that.
I know. It was crazy. So I had to take it apart so that I could actually get to the sampler to reproduce it. This is an exact repro.
Color too?
Yes. It's a dark shutter green, which we old timers call it. And I just love it. I couldn't believe my lucky stars to find a Quaker.
Oh.
The dealer that I bought it from told me it's not original to Pennsylvania, but that it
Really?
came from England, which makes perfect sense for Quaker samplers.
Oh, I thought Quakers were traditionally Pennsylvania.
And England.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So Beth Wixon stitched this for me. It was the first time she stitched a Quaker piece. She said she loved doing it. It uses 5 skeins of needlepoint silk. Keep that in mind.
But all one color, so
All
again,
one color, yes.
might be a nice place to start.
Yes. It's stitched on 36 count Legacy. Seems to be my go-to linen.
This is so cute. AH2EE.
Yeah.
So,
And that's what I call the sampler. I have no idea what those initials stand for, but that's the name of it.
AH2EE. So what would all of these random letters?
Anything.
Initials?
Probably.
Okay.
It was probably a school project, worked in school, residential school, and they could be the initials of her family, her friends, anything.
It's beautiful.
I love it.
You could work this in any color too. Like I know people love red samplers. Easily switch to a red.
Right. I just stayed true to the antique. Yeah. I was so lucky to find this piece, and it was totally affordable. I did have to run to the ATM and ask the dealer to hold it for me till I got back, which he was nice enough to do. But I'm thrilled with it.
That's beautiful.
Thanks.
Oh, I'm very unprepared. Just one
That's
second,
okay.
please.
All right. Take your time. Can I help?
So, following up with Mom's Quaker Sampler, I myself have a reproduction. If you follow me on Instagram, you will have seen... Did I share this on Instagram that I found it? I don't know. I shared it in a previous floss tube that I had gotten my hands on my own Quaker sampler a couple weeks ago.
This isn't necessarily Quaker. This is Pennsylvania German.
Okay. Well, we can talk about why later, but okay, this is a Pennsylvania German. Is it because it doesn't have those circular motifs?
Right, yeah.
Okay.
The motifs are totally PA German. Look at that.
So this is just
Fabulous.
a PA German sampler. The wonderful Steph from Stitched Goes My Heart took this model stitching on and did a beautiful job. Getting this back was so much fun. Now this was originally unfinished when I found it. Will you hold it for me?
Sure.
Let me show you something real quick. This is the cover sheet for this pattern. And what I did is, because this was a reproduction, I set a picture of the original in the corner so you can see where it started. And with that picture, you can see how unfinished it was. But I did take the liberty of finishing it as I thought it might be done. And the chart itself is fully finished as you see here. However, the portion that I did and added myself is indicated very clearly with different symbols. So if you happen to like the unfinished version, which I do, I loved it when I just love the unfinished look of it. You can work it that way, or you can finish it as you're seeing here. You have the option there. Oh, sorry, talking too fast. It was stitched on 40 count buttercream by Lakeside Linen, which was a spot on match for the original. Mom had it and we matched it up, and it was so true to the original. It was done in needlepoint silks, and the stitch count is 170 wide by 209 high, and I love it.
I do too.
Love it.
I love it too. It's beautiful. I've always been drawn to PA German
Thank you
samplers.
for holding that for me. Sure. Here's just a real quick look. This is another great piece that if this size intimidates you, you might want to just take a piece or two from it and be creative. I did notice that this little flower symbol, which is one of my favorite motifs in the whole piece, and it was original to the piece, has almost a match at the bottom of Mom's Quaker, which right there. Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
I mean, not an identical match, but
Pretty darn
Pretty
close.
darn close.
That's cool.
so this
Well,
is.
no wonder you thought that was Quaker.
Yeah, I'm getting an education. This I am calling AL Motif Sampler. It is dated, again, it was part of the original, the date 1827 in the bottom right corner, and in the top she had started, I assume it's a she, the 18, never finished